today we are going to be talking about why human capital is one of your brand's biggest assets and should be considered in your company as one of a critical priority moving forward. And so before I go any further, I'm going to allow my panelists to introduce themselves. So ladies first, Carla.
Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you? My name is Carla Rodriguez, and I'm the Vice President of HR and Corporate Social Responsibility at Wana Brand. I did want to share one anecdote because I think it's kind of funny. This morning I was feeling a bit nervous about speaking in front of you all, and so I called my 5-year-old and I asked what I could do to calm down, and she said, "Well, Mommy, you can hug the toy you're going to buy me at the airport." So future salesperson right there, but great to see you all. Thank you for having me.
Brian Passman here, longtime executive recruiter, longtime consumer, living my dream, I guess. My worlds collided 6 years ago, started a search firm to serve the cannabis industry. Really happy to be here talking about human capital. The Benzinga folks and I have discussed it for a while, so thanks Benzinga for doing this. It's a really important topic. I'm a little biased, but hopefully you all agree. Thanks for staying in your seats. We'll see how we could follow up that last conversation, whether you stayed because you're moving slow from last night or you're interested in being here. Either way, thanks for being here.
Awesome. So we have kind of a short time frame, but a lot of great information to cover this morning. And clearly we're all here at this Capital Conference. We've had a lot of conversation around investment and financial assets and regulations and all of the critical, important things. But one of the most valuable assets that any company has, that any brand has, is really their people. And a lot of times that the people side of it has a tendency to get overlooked. And so that's what we're here to talk about today, and why investors, why the C-suite, why everyone should really kind of take into consideration how valuable your human capital is in your brand and in your company's success moving forward. So, Brian, as you said, you've worked in executive recruiting for years, have been in the cannabis industry for the last 6 or 7 years, and a lot of times when we're looking at these types of mergers and acquisitions, or people are looking for restructuring, a lot of times that head count is a big line item that people look as a great opportunity to cut costs or to reduce costs. What would you warn them against in some of those situations?
So I'll preface this with I'll probably, hopefully say a lot of things that is common knowledge to everyone out here. Hopefully just serves as gentle, friendly reminders. I'd say with that, to your question, is you can cut headcount with a scalpel or chainsaw approach. Recommend using a scalpel, meaning understand what your human capital situation is in the business you're acquiring or have acquired or merged with or so on, and keep the people, again, obvious, who are positive contributors to the business. Understand what the repercussions will be by just improving the healthier balance sheet by cutting payroll. There's a lot of associated costs that are measurable in a lot of different ways. Some of them are more obvious than others. The most obvious is you're going to have people in your business, so you're going to have to go and hire again. Less obvious is what the morale is of the people that are left after they see their very talented friends cut. So, not advocating for carrying dead weight. Of course, in the real world, in real businesses, there's a culling of your bottom performers on an annual basis. It's important to be lean in this industry, operationally excellent, and all of the things, but you have to be conscientious when reducing headcount and understand how you're measuring the success of the people that you're keeping and exiting in real ways, and not treating it like a popularity contest, I guess.
That's great. And then, Carla, from a marketing and branding perspective, we always kind of preach that your brand, your ethos, your company's values really have to be lived through every single person in your organization, or it's not going to feel authentic. I use the line over and over, you could have the best-selling product in the market, but if your salesperson is rude or not on time or disrespectful and doesn't show up, as a retailer, I may not buy from you just because I don't want to deal with your employees. And so having employees who kind of live and represent the true core values of your brand is really critically important. Clearly, WANA has an amazing company reputation and amazing brand values. And what are some of the things that you guys have seen that have worked to help identify those employees and also help keep the good employees?
So I think I'll kind of level set the conversation by acknowledging that we're in an industry of cultivation, just by its very nature, right? We're cultivators, we're in cannabis. And that doesn't stop at the plant, it doesn't stop at our business. We have to also cultivate the people within our business. And I also think it's important to remember that when we're investing in our people, they're also investing in us. And so just remember, I think it's just a good level set to remember that this is a two-way street. This isn't just hire people, put it on autopilot, we're good, we're done, right? So the first one, which I think is often the most overlooked tool we all have, is simple conversation, simple dialogue with our people, with our team, to figure out where they want to go, what trajectory do they see for themselves. We recently did a survey at WANA Brands where we learned that 65% of our employees stay at WANA for career development. So they've told us that, so we need to run with that, right? Through things like tuition reimbursement, leadership development. But really, at the crux of it is that conversation. We can't make assumptions about where someone's going to go next with their career within us. And having that open mind and giving them those tools have led us to a place where we can have folks from sales go on to become vice president of innovation, or a kitchen operator becoming part of the research and development team, or even a packager going on to be a project manager. And so none of those moves would have happened without the opportunity and the openness of conversation, but also the tools to enhance their education. And so it really is twofold, and I'm sure, Brian, you can probably tell me, later, what the cost would have been to recruit those kind of roles had we not just taken the time and the energy to foster those from within.
Yes, I can tell you. And I'll say, look, I see some friendly clients out here. We're fortunate to be able to recruit for WANA Brands. And I mean, recruiting for a brand like WANA is about as easy as it can be. It's hard to recruit, but it can be easier if you have a lot of brand goodwill out there. And so what we do at our firm is try to just associate with those groups that help us build on our goodwill by bringing good vibes opportunities out there to people. And that's especially important now because most of you out here who are hiring are almost certainly looking for talent from within the cannabis industry. This is a cottage industry and everyone's talking, and definitely talent in this industry is correcting against those that are treating people poorly in various ways or not going the extra mile, because there's a lot that's expected on the employee relations front. If you're hiring right, you're bringing curious, inquisitive, confident, and courageous people into your organization, and you should be allowing them to move laterally around if they want to learn new skills, because whatever the reason may be. So it's just human capital is your company, your brand's greatest asset because of the ROI that you get from keeping people together, and that's a fantastic example of how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other, the other piece to that, you said it's a cottage industry, and our people, the people that we hire, are not just employees. They're also our brand ambassadors. They're also representatives of our companies. They're also consumers. So they're also our customers, kind of across the board. And it is still a very small, very relationship-based industry, right? And so people know who they want to work for, and word gets out for companies that they don't want to work for. So how, and Carla, maybe this is something you want to kick off, when you're looking to hire the right people, and it has to have become a challenge to balance the right skill set with the right kind of value or culture fit. And how do you measure that?
Well, that's about a 2-hour seminar.
We have 9 minutes.
Yeah, what I can say is I'm really glad that you said the word value fit. I do firmly believe that culture fit and value fit are very different things, and culture fit is a very slippery slope. That's where you start to hire yourself over and over and over again, right? And you're losing innovative ideas, diversity of ideas, and a place where people feel like they can be their authentic selves. So for us, it is a balance of value fit, and what I mean by that is alignment of our values, and those are still broad, so it's not boxing people in. It's things like collaboration, curiosity, respect, passion for the plant, right? So it's having that value fit along with skills is really the magic combination. You know, I've had people who would have been wonderful, quote unquote, culture fit, but we did not hire them because they did not have value alignment with our company. I've had people whose resumes are off the chart, but they also did not embody the really true spirit of our mission and our vision and our values to a level that would be necessary. And I think honestly, when you have those transparent conversations with people during the interview process, and it should be a conversation, it shouldn't just be, you know, robot mode, we were gonna ask them X, Y, Z, but you can start to see, not only is it an alignment for the company, but it is an alignment for them, and having a real honest conversation about that. So it doesn't completely answer your question, it really is case by case, but those are kind of the high notes of what I look out for.
Yeah, so that's really important because, like we've talked about before, you don't just hire for the best resume. Your brand partners or your customers or anyone out there doesn't care that you hired the best resume if they're not clicking, if they're not fitting with your values, and they're not really happy as a result, and always going the extra mile. You feel it, and you know, we say happy people make happy plants, make happy gummies. And so don't just hire for resume, hire for value fit and all of the other fluffy stuff, and get there by getting to know people truly beyond the piece of paper.
And so clearly, you know, Brian, when people are looking, you know, at kind of the expense of paying to hire someone or the expense of paying to retain employees, what are some of the costs and the benefits and the opportunities that employers, investors find, you know, that we should consider when kind of weighing the investment in either talent acquisition or retention?
Well, and I've had people say it sounds kind of crude to refer to people as your asset, but asset is a positive descriptor, in my opinion. I mean, that's the thing of object of value or person of value. So if your people are staying together, it's just they're gelling better together. They're understanding where they need to support each other and leverage the strengths on the team or support each other's weaknesses. And you're just getting a better return on the investment instead of going through the revolving door of always trying to level up and replace because you can't retain, or you cut headcount so that your balance sheet look better for that quarter or two. So it's just the increasing return on the investment in your people, that's all. And hopefully not having to spend too much on recruiting, but if so, please call me.
And Carla, what are some of the best, you mentioned some of them earlier, professional development, but what are some of the best tactics you found in terms of employee retention at WANA?
You know, it's really interesting. That survey I mentioned earlier, we asked people why they stay. And I mentioned earlier career development, but the number one reason was their coworkers. And number 3 was their manager, which tells me that happy people keep happy people in the company, right? And so how are we fostering that sort of environment? So yes, tuition reimbursement, leadership development is important, but it's also not assuming what benefits are going to work best for our employees. I think there's a lot of people that assume that, especially in manufacturing, most of our employees would be, 21 to 25 years old. The fact of the reality is that a lot of our employees now are more in the 25 to 35-year-old range and are having children now and are, for lack of a better word, growing up, right? And so what we found is that what's really important to our employees are family benefits, so paid leave programs, making sure we have a robust paid leave program. I can think of 4 high performers this year that we would have lost if we did not have a paid leave program. We also have just started partnering with a local co-op workspace daycare, because I kept hearing these working parents say, I don't have time, it's so expensive, childcare's so expensive, can I have a raise, I might have to quit. Well, how about we think outside the box and get a corporate discount at the co-op workspace where they can go to work, but only pay $180 a month for 30 hours of childcare. That's a win-win for everyone, right? And it also shows that we're actually listening and engaging in conversation with the type of benefits that they want and that they need. So I think that it's just, it changes constantly. It's constantly evolving, but it's having that conversation to not make assumptions about the needs of our employees and what's making them stay, always having that pulse check, but then also being willing to evolve along with the needs of the employees.
All these little things that Carla's talking about, and so many more things that keep people so happy at Wana Brands, allows companies like Wana to hire the best talent without having to be the best paying company in the industry. It doesn't matter what the industry is. I've worked across industries, that usually the best paying companies are those that have to be the best paying companies because they can't access talent otherwise. We call it danger pay or hazard pay, right? So it costs nothing to treat people well, to be nice and conscientious and have happy people representing your brand, or you could do the other and then have to blow up your payroll and pay people exorbitant amounts more money than they would actually take if it was just a less unhappy place to work. Simple.
Yeah, I feel like hazard pay is like theme in this industry.
Well, I don't want to put anyone in golden handcuffs, right?
Right.
I don't want that to be the case for them. And I also think people want to know that we acknowledge they have a life outside our company. I'm sure that makes some people like clutch my pearls. But our company is not their life. Their families are their lives. And our company, I want it to be an important piece of their life. But how am I fostering the well-being of an employee from a 360 angle, right? That's, if we want to look at the numbers, that's also very beneficial for me on the company level to have happy, healthy people coming to work every day. And then they're also telling their friends and their colleagues and their third-party vendors how great it is to work at Wana, and then thereby bringing in more talent that is like-minded.
No, and I think we've got just a couple minutes left, and so we've talked about a lot of the positives and the reasons and how we should approach employees and consider them as a huge asset. But sometimes, no matter how intentional we are with hiring the right skill set, the right value fit, we sometimes make the wrong hire. Or we make the right hire who then shines a light on potential underperformers who might need to be exited on the team. When those types of situations come up, what is the best way to humanly but expeditiously handle those?
Humanely?
Humanely.
As
No,
well?
humane, yeah, both.
Just show them all the love all the way through when they leave the door. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's outplacement services. There's exit interviews. There's just, honoring severances, whatever things might be in place that you can do to exit the person with love, because, we're talking about how your people are your brand ambassadors. If you treat them well and they're talking you up to their family and their friends and investors they know and consumers, and you want them doing that after they leave the business. They're going to take part of your business with them when they leave. So make that a feel-good goodbye and have them singing your praises moving forward and helping you to always be recruiting. because again, they're people, they have spouses, kids, and so on. I just always try to put myself in everyone's shoes and imagine what it's like to sit at the table with their family talking about what's next or whatever it is. And it feels good to treat people well, including as you're walking them out the door, give them a big hug, physically or spiritually or otherwise.
Well, I also think that in these situations, I would encourage everyone to pause for a beat and make sure that termination is actually what needs to happen with the employee. Oftentimes, that's just like a knee-jerk reaction we have where we say, oh man, John has just been like awful at sales, you know, they haven't been sending emails, they haven't been sending reports, I don't know, they're just underperforming, they gotta go. When the reality is, what's happening with John personally? Is there a reasonable accommodation that we need to make? Does John need to take some time off for health reasons, right? More often than not, it is not what you see on that first blush that's happening with someone. And also, is this just an opportunity, it's not a roadblock, is it an opportunity to further education and further develop this individual and bring them up to speed? So I just really challenge everyone to take a beat and just really look under the hood, make sure that this isn't a situation that could be salvageable for that employee. But then, you know, and also make sure, do they even understand their job description? When's the last time you shared their job description with them? They might be thinking that they're doing everything they're supposed to do with their job, but you haven't been communicating what their responsibilities are with them. You would not believe how often that happens. Where someone's over here, you know, off in the meadow when they really should be over here, right? So I encourage that, but then, you know, Brian, you said it really, really eloquently, that when you do need to let someone go, you're still in that relationship together, and you really need to approach that with humanity. Think about what are the things that would come to your mind or that have come to your mind when you've left a company, right? Where's my next paycheck? What's happening with my health insurance? Where am I gonna find my next job, right? So if you can address those concerns right from the get-go, you're gonna calm the situation immediately and show that you're thinking about their personal well-being right from the beginning. And so I always tell people, this is the severance situation, or this is when you're getting your last paycheck, this is what's happening with Cobra, right? And this is what we can offer you as far as recommendations in the future, so.
Yeah, I think that's both of you that's a really great perspective and guidance. And so with that, I'd like to thank my panelists for their great insights today and wish you all a successful remainder of your conference.
Thank you all.